Carrolup was established near Katanning in the early 1900s and was reclassified from a mission to native settlement in 1915. Together with settlements at Moore River, Rowlands and Noangarup, at one stage it formed part of a number of institutions that housed most of the Noongar people of the southwest of Western Australia. The Carrolup facility was closed in 1922 with all residents transferred to the Moore River settlement. The Aboriginal Act of 1909 denied the rights of parents and made all part Aboriginal children wards of the state. Aboriginal children were taken from their parents, especially if they had a European or part European ancestry, in order to break the possibility of being socialised within traditional Aboriginal language and culture as part of a government policy which became known as the Stolen Generations. It was hoped by the protector of Aborigines that boys would be trained as agricultural labourers and girls would obtain work as domestic servants. Children living at Carrolup of marriageable age had to obtain official government permission to marry. As the official policy was acknowledged as smoothing the pillow of a dying race, the breeding out of Aboriginal racial characteristics was encouraged. The officials took little or no action in cases of sexual abuse of girls by those officially in charge of them. The settlement was opened again in 1940 as a farm training school for Indigenous boys and in 1952 was handed over to the Baptist Church and was renamed as Marribank. In the 1950s, Marribank was the site of an Aboriginal Noongar art movement amongst the children resident there, famous for its portrayals of local Western Australian scenes at sunset. An exhibition of Carrolup artists was organised in Perth, in a number of Australian towns and cities and in London. A number of prominent Western Australian Aboriginal artists started their work at Marribank. Demonstrating the change in focus that had evolved at Marribank by the early 1980s, Marribank Mission offered a valuable family support program to homeless and disadvantaged Aboriginal families. Marribank offered housing where Aboriginal families could be reunited and supported, and in due course move on to accommodation in the community. Marribank continued to develop its family support program, not only providing housing for disadvantaged and homeless Aboriginal families, but more changing the emphasis of working with the family as a unit rather than the child alone. People seeking admission to Marribank had to be homeless or evicted. People who could cope on the outside were not accepted. Most of the people were self-referred, but Marribank had a board of Aboriginals who screened and interviewed people before they were accepted. The board limited the number of people in the houses, including visitors. The core focus was on seriously dislocated families who were experiencing multiple difficulties in areas such as housing, employment, alcoholism, child caring, school adjustment and physical violence. Funding ceased on 30th of December 1988 and Marribank closed as a residential facility in January 1989. Today, the settlement appears to be abandoned.